Okay, so it looks like we're all started now. If you guys can feel free to let me know if you can hear me. Any of you guys who are on the line right now, and we'll get started in just a moment. All right, awesome. I hope you guys have all had an excellent morning, or for you guys listening over in New Zealand or other parts of the world, I hope you've had an excellent day. First of all, I wanted to share some information on how to use NLP in personal training because one of my previous backgrounds as a personal trainer of appearing on radio, magazine, newspaper, for my expertise in the area, I wanted to just give back to the industry, give back to a few of my PT friends and a few of you guys out there in different areas of the world, just share with you guys some simple techniques that you can use and take away today to be able to improve the results that you're getting with your clients. And a lot of people I've found really want to be able to enhance the results you're already getting. Maybe you're a top level PT, maybe you've been in the industry a long time, or perhaps you have been, you're just starting out, maybe you just qualified and you're wanting to be able to enhance your results when you do enter a gym or start your own boot camp parkside or start as a mobile trainer, whatever you want to be doing in the industry. So I'm just going to start out by sharing a little bit with you with my personal story and how I came to find NLP and use that with my training with clients, and then I'll just kind of branch into how you can use that specifically. I'll give you some specific techniques and some specific tools you can use right away to begin to improve your clients' results. And of course, half the time I never really know what I'm going to say on webinars. I just start saying it. I don't really run by a particular rule book or anything like that. I like to just kind of wing it and speak straight from the heart and get the information out that I know that you guys will find most valuable. So that's what I'm going to do here today. And so for me personally, I was that kid in school when you looked around the classroom and it was maybe cold outside and you could hear the other kids, talking to themselves. I was that kid over there in the corner as you looked over there. I was that kid that, had his head down, wasn't really talking to anybody, was really shy. I remember getting outside as the lunch bell rang and looking up to see the clear blue sky, and then I could hear some sniggering and laughter, and I turned and I saw some kids that were laughing at me, and then they said, hey, that's Dick. They had a name for me, Dick Electronics, and, with a mechanical arm or whatever, and don't worry, I remember distinctly, but I won't repeat the specifics of the rhyme that these kids came up for me. But I was always that kid that was bullied. I was very shy, even into high school. Later into my high school years, I was really nervous around pretty much everyone. I had trouble meeting people. I had trouble even communicating just as a human being to other people, and it was, it really wasn't. I say that I really lived in my own little box, in my own little world in my head, and maybe you can relate. Maybe you felt like you've had a time in your life when you haven't felt as confident as you wanted to, as motivated as you wanted to, as persistent as you wanted to. Maybe you struggled with believing in yourself, and, I was certainly all of those things and more. I constantly just put myself down. I'd always, I remember walking through the town with my mother, a small town of only 3,000 people where I grew up, and she'd always say, Nick, lift your head up high, and push your shoulders back. And she always did it, with love in her heart. And but of course, what parents want for their children and what their children are, are producing are two different things. And for me, I just really never really produced the results that I wanted to in life. Until one day I was introduced to a concept. I was introduced to several people along a specific timeline, and these people really opened my eyes to different things. Firstly, to a business in a way, where I had really no idea of business. They didn't teach business in school. They just taught me how to get a job, how to get an education, and then of course how to have a family, buy a house, get in debt, and then retire hopefully with money. But hey, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But I met these really cool mentors And later on, I met another mentor, and I remember sitting at the table with him. I was still pretty shy, but I sort of fast forwarded towards my very early 20s. I think I was 20 years old, something like that, around that age. And I remember sitting down at the table with him as I felt the hardwood under my fingers, and I looked across and saw this relaxed looking chap, quite a vibrant fellow, charismatic. And he looked me in the eye and he said, look, Nick, the rate in which your business grows is in direct relation to the rate in which you grow as a person. Grow a little, your business will grow a little. But if you grow a lot and really break free of your comfort zone and really reach outside of your comfort zone daily and regularly stretch yourself, then your business will grow a lot as a result of you growing yourself. And so for me, that really just planted the seed that grew over time into really, I mean, now my life is completely different. I spend a lot more time. I spend a lot more time communicating with people. I enjoy people. I genuinely enjoy helping people. I think that really comes back to my past experience of not really getting the help until later on. So I like to help people break through a lot of their stuff as early as I possibly can. That's why I got into personal training originally, because I joined the gym. I felt like I needed to change something about my body, about myself, and I worked really hard for 6 months in the gym, became pretty obsessed. My journey still wasn't anywhere near finished after that 6 months, but I had changed my body a lot. And I didn't really know how I did it, but the same mentor also later on I met up with years later after first joining the gym, and he began mentoring me a little more regularly. And then I found another mentor as well. So I had a couple of different mentors, and these guys, I found out later on that they had studied NLP. And I was always curious as to, I was like, you guys ask some really strange questions. And I don't know if you've ever been in a therapy environment or you've ever been coached by someone before and they ask you some really peculiar questions, questions that you wouldn't usually think to ask yourself. I will give you some examples as we continue on in this webinar of these peculiar questions. But the way in which they mentored and coached me was completely different to whatever I'd ever experienced in the past with just, advice from parents or advice from friends. It was completely different. And so fast forwarding years later down the track, I ended up as a personal trainer, operating out of a studio and working with various different clients in different ways, and I would integrate NLP into the training sessions. And so one thing that I found that you may find as a personal trainer, or maybe you're a health and wellness enthusiast that you're listening in on this webinar, or maybe you're someone who is in a different area of the health and wellness industry and you just want to be able to somehow improve people's results and make them happier and healthier. So listen on, I'm going to share with you those specifics in just a second. So how many times as a personal trainer did I have clients coming in and after the first week or two start to show up late? How often did I ask them about how they were gone in the kitchen? How you been going in the kitchen? I remember one day Jenny walked in, and Jenny was a retail assistant. She worked 5 days a week, and so she had a job like everyone else, responsibilities outside of work, all that sort of stuff, social life, blah blah. And so she came in. I said, "Oh, how have you been going over the last week? We haven't caught up since our last session. How have you been going since then?" And she said to me, she looked at me and she said, "Well, I feel like I've gone okay, but I probably could have done better. I heard my friends the other night saying that they love to eat, this fast food, and I actually ended up just, eating it with them, and I don't really, it's okay, eating that stuff every now and then, but I find myself just still eating a lot of the same stuff that I always have, and it's a lot of packaged stuff, and I know it's not really that great for my health, but I don't really know how to break out of that." So that was Jenny's story, coming back after a week, and, nothing had really changed And then there was, Tim, for example. I remember the usual, and you can probably relate to this either personally or professionally. Tim came in one morning, 5 a.m, really cold. It was a frosty morning out there in Christchurch, New Zealand, where the studio was. There was the grass was so frosted that you could literally grab it and it would shatter in your hands, that coldness over your hands. And as he walked into the studio, I could see the mist coming out of his breath there. But luckily we had aircon in the studio, so it was a bit warmer in there. And he said to me, I heard him say, "Oh man, I've been really slack this week. I've been really I know you gave me a program, but I couldn't get motivated. We did our session, and then I was real sore after that, and I just didn't really get it, and I just couldn't do it." And so if you've ever worked with somebody who, has come back with those types of responses, then what I'm going to share with you is what I share with various different clients. And so just some really easy, really simple, very specific techniques that I use to be able to help them to become more motivated and more persistent in these particular areas. And I separate them into 2 areas, the eating and the exercise or the movement. It doesn't really matter what people do, in my opinion, as long as that it serves the prime directives of the unconscious mind, which is to keep the body healthy, to maintain the health of the body. And if people are operating outside of that, then their health is going to decline. So there's a lot of flexibility in the way I work with people. So let me just go through some specific process that you can take someone through as far as the exercise goes or the movement first. And so Tim would come in, I didn't do my sessions over the last week. I was just unmotivated. And so this is somebody who needs my help. This is their way of saying, this is Tim saying to me, "Look, Nick, I really need your help. I don't have motivation. I'm paying you some money to personal train me. I don't know if you can help me with the motivation side. I know that I come into these sessions and you're motivating me while I'm here, but what about when I'm not here?" And you may have had clients like that too. And so that's his way of almost reaching out, sharing with me, "Look, I wasn't motivated, didn't do my sessions. I wasn't regularly moving my body like I should have been to maintain my health." And so here we are, standing here today outside with the frost all over the grass. So what I did was we brought out some NLP, which is real simple. There's the obvious NLP, and then there's the non-obvious NLP. Obvious being you're sitting down and I was like, "Okay, Tim, we're going to run this particular process together. I'm just going to ask you some different questions, and we're just going to, you okay if we go a little bit off the wall here?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, sure." So that's the obvious NLP. The non-obvious is where we have more of a conversation. And in the conversation, that's where we actually create the shifts. So I'll go through the conversation first, and then I'll go through the specific process with you for motivating Tim to be, ready to go right out of the gate, wanting the exercise when he decides to, and that decision to be easier for him, easy enough that it would be just like brushing his teeth. "Oh, I got to brush my teeth," or "Oh, I'm going to exercise." So the non-obvious, the kind of under the radar NLP technique for Tim is he walked in, he said, "Oh, look, Nick, I just didn't make it to these. I didn't make it to the gym. I didn't make out to do any of my exercise sessions. So here's him reaching out." I said, "All right, Tim. All right, so let me and imagine that you're Tim now as you listen to me and you listen to my voice." All right, I said, "All right, Tim. So let me ask you this. Putting that aside, just you and I sitting here down here in the studio, we're just catching up now. I know we've got our session to go through, but before we get into that session, what I wanted to ask you is, what was your main reason for deciding to join, deciding to work with me?" And so Tim goes, "Oh, well, my main reason was I got a wedding coming up real soon." I said, "All right, Tim. So you got this wedding coming up real soon. I know you're wanting to get in shape. why is it important for you to get in shape for this wedding? And he said, oh, well, it's really important for me because I want to look my best on my wedding day. I'm like, okay, so you want to look your best on your wedding day? Okay, sure. And why do you want to look your best on your wedding day? And he said, oh, because it means a lot to me. It's like the only time in my life when I've got a bunch of photos, professional photographer, and I want to really, create that. I want to really create the image I have in my head of how it is going to be. And I also want to be healthy for, long term. So kind of setting up myself to be healthy long term. I know I needed to make these changes for a long, long time. I said, all right, Tim, so why do you want to be healthy long term? Why is that important to you? And he goes, well, I really thought about it, but, I'd like to be around for grandkids. I said, whoa, that's big, right? That's a good reason. You want to be around for grandkids, and you got your wedding coming up, which is only going to happen once in your lifetime. You got these professional photos that are going to be taking you. It's going to be a big snapshot. Oh, hey. Well, that's obviously important to you, Tim, right? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, how do you really feel about that? How do you feel about showing up on your wedding day? You're in your tux or your suit or your dress in the way you want to dress, and you're looking the way you want to look. You're feeling the way you want to feel when your health is at the place that you want it to be. How does that feel? How does that look to you? How does that sound, Tim? How does that sound? And I saw him look inside. He found those feelings. He saw what he wanted to see, heard what he wanted to hear. And then he came back with his answer. Yes! Got it! And I said, great, hold on to that, Tim. Hold on to it. Now, as you hold on to that, where are you noticing those feelings? And for Tim, he said, I'm noticing those feelings. They're really strong. I said, where are they in your body? Are they in your stomach, your chest, your head? He said, oh, I can feel them. They're almost through my whole body, but they're in my stomach. And I said, great. So notice those feelings in your stomach. And I said, just notice how you can actually make those stronger if you want to, and that's going to help with your motivation. It's going to help with your persistence. It's going to help with your overall results come your wedding day. So notice those feelings in your stomach of feeling that, yes, this is the moment, this is the time. As you notice those feelings in your stomach, I want you to just reach inside. Imagine there's a little dial and you can turn it up, and as you turn up that dial, you're actually going to be able to increase those feelings in your stomach and make them stronger and stronger. So I want you just to reach inside, just in your mind now, even just playing with me here, just even as you reach and turn around that dial, as you turn it around, noticing those feelings getting stronger and stronger in your stomach and your body now, noticing them getting stronger and stronger, turning that dial all the way up to a 10, all the way up, and noticing that. And then I want you to look at the studio, just expand your view. As soon as it's the strongest that it possibly can, I want you to imagine the studio and imagine yourself exercising in it. Notice yourself exercising in it, and then I want you to notice your wedding. So think about your wedding day, and as you think about your wedding day and how good it's going to feel, I want you to link those feelings to exercise, to it's feeling really good. It's feeling it's going to be, that's exactly what you want. Feeling those feelings in your stomach now. Okay, cool. And then I said to Tim, all right, now don't think of green grapefruits. So that's what we call breaking state. So we're just going to get him to think of something else. And then I said, all right, Tim, so the wedding day, hey? It's an important day. He said, yes. I said, how do you feel thinking about your wedding day now? He said, oh man, I feel really good. Strong feeling in my stomach, and it just feels really good. I said, excellent. Now, that's the finished process with Tim. Now, that's what we call conversational. And sure, he noticed that we were doing some random stuff in his head, but I reframed it in the beginning with saying, hey, you cool if we do some off the wall type stuff? Are you cool if I ask you some off the wall questions? So he was like, yeah, fire away, right? I could have made it as easy as just saying, hey, you all right if I ask you some crazy questions? He would have gone, sure, let's go for it. Ask me some crazy questions. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to go through the process where it's more formal. But of course, that conversational process that I went through with Tim, what I actually did there was I linked the feelings of how good he felt on his wedding day. I made those feelings stronger, which actually will drive him towards his wedding day, and then beyond, having that awareness, that conscious awareness. His unconscious mind is now consciously aware of his unconscious processes. So he's consciously aware of his unconscious thoughts, goals, and what he really wanted for himself. Consciously aware. And even as you listen to me now, you may find that you have the ability to, your unconscious mind is going to, of course, take in everything I say anyway, but your conscious mind is also now aware of that process of being able to take someone through that, have them remember an experience like I did with Tim, remember, get really clear through asking questions on the reason for doing something, which is the reason for eating a certain way, eating certain foods or whatever, moving the body in a certain way in order to reach a particular outcome on his wedding day. Getting really clear on the reasons for the wedding day, for why that was important, and then, of course, future reasons as well, which I think he shared with grandkids there. So getting really clear on the reasons. And then what I did was I turned that dial up. I got him really clear on the feelings in his body. Really, for him, he was kinesthetic. For other people, it may be an image. You may make that image brighter and turn it up, make it stronger, or make it more clear. For other people, it may be they may hear a sound, bells ringing, or whistling, or singing, or someone's voice whispering in their ear, and you might just make that more clear and louder and these types of things. But for Timmy, it was kinesthetic, which means he's relying primarily on his internal representational system is primarily kinesthetic based, which is feeling based. It goes off feelings a lot. So I made his, so we got really clear, very specific on his particular outcomes, on his reasons behind his outcomes for what he wanted, his goals, so to speak. And then what we did was we actually linked, we kind of did a little bit of a spin around and the pictures or the feelings of his wedding, how good he was going to feel, and then flipping over to the studio, exercising in the studio. So what we're actually doing is we're linking those positive, strong feelings of being at the wedding to exercising at the gym. Do you think that would motivate someone? Sure. I mean, really, one of the most simple ways that, to kind of break down human behavior is just pain, pleasure. If people, some people move towards pain, some people move away from, some people move towards pleasure, some people move away from. For him, the chances are, well, the chances were good, that he was moving towards pleasure of the wedding day. That was what was motivating him. It wasn't the pain of showing up to the wedding day and maybe not fitting in the tux or whatever. It was the pleasure. So if pleasure is motivating him, which it was, then we use that same pleasure, those very similar feelings, and we link those feelings to exercise. Because the challenge is that a lot of people will go through an exercise session, they'll feel the physical pain, and then they will associate the physical pain to the exercise. And then next time they think back when they're lying in their bed about to go to sleep, and they think about the personal training session they're going to do the next morning, and the exercise and the moving and the pain and all that stuff, and they start going, oh my God, I can't believe it. I don't want to do that. That's too painful. And can you wonder why people find it hard to motivate themselves? It's no wonder. So what we're doing is, what we did there was we just shifted the associations from pain of exercising to pleasure. We made those stronger, those strong feelings in his stomach, and we linked those strong feelings to exercise in the studio, and of course to exercise in general. And what I actually did over the course of each time I caught up with Tim is we actually repeated a similar process with him. So got him to think about a time when he was really motivated, really excited, etc. So what I'm going to go through now is into the obvious NLP use. I know we're moving pretty quick, but that's kind of the way we do it here. So now we're going to move into the obvious NLP use, where you're literally sitting down with your client or sitting down with your friend, and you're just going to go through the specific process, or you can go through it with me as we're speaking, as I'm speaking to you now, and you're listening to the sound of my voice, and you're watching this webinar here now. You can even go through it yourself. So sat down with my client, and perhaps let me just share as if I'm actually going through it with you now. It's probably going to be the easiest way you're going to be able to remember it as you listen to me. So I want you to think of a time when you were really motivated, when you were totally motivated, when you were so motivated that nothing could stop you. And as you think about that time, I want you just to bring that to your mind, bring that into existence as you remember back to that time. Thinking of that time when you felt totally motivated. I want you to let me know when you think of that time when you felt totally motivated. You don't necessarily have to type it in, just nod on that other side of that screen there. Just thinking of that time when you felt totally motivated. And I want you to see what you saw. I want you to look through your own eyes during this time of thinking when you felt totally motivated, and I want you to see what you saw through your own eyes. Looking through your own eyes now when you felt totally motivated, feeling the feelings that you felt. What did you feel when you felt totally motivated? What sort of sounds did you hear? What sort of sounds did you hear when you felt totally motivated? Okay, feeling those feelings of feeling totally motivated. What did you feel? What did you feel inside? How strong were those feelings when you felt totally motivated? Like you could achieve anything? Thinking of that time now, looking through your own eyes, thinking of when you felt totally motivated, like nothing could stop you. You could take action as well, take action whenever you wanted. You had no problem taking action at all. What did you see? How clear was that? Whatever you saw now, I just want you to make that crisper, make it clearer, make it sharper. That's it. Bring it more into focus now. If it was defocused, make it more lifelike, make it more real to you. That's it. Make it more colorful if it needs to be. More of a real color. What about the brightness? You want to turn that brightness up a little bit? Turn it up a wee bit more? Does that make it better or worse? Does it make it more real or less? Turn the brightness to make it feel as bright as it needs to be, to feel as real as it needs to be for you. Okay, now what do you see? What do you hear? Now that we've covered what do you see? What are you hearing? What sounds are coming to your ears? What are you noticing? Whatever those sounds are, I just want you to make them a little bit clearer, crystal clear. As if you've just gone from an old record to a Dolby Digital surround sound, 7-point surround sound system, nice and clear, coming in through your ears. Crystal clear. Make it a little louder, make it a little more lifelike if it needs to be. What sort of tunes are playing? What sort of voices? Make them nice and clear. Make them nice and real. Okay, what are you feeling now? What's around you? You got your hands on anything? Your feet touching anything? Is your body touching anything? What's going on in your body? Okay, noticing those feelings in your body now. Noticing those feelings, nice and strong. And where are those feelings? Are they in your stomach or they're in your chest? Are they in your head? They're elsewhere. Whereabouts are those feelings? Noticing those feelings. As you notice those feelings in your body, just noticing them now. As you notice those feelings, I just want you to turn them up a little bit, make them a little stronger. Imagine there's a little dial there, and you can just turn that up, turning it up, making it even stronger, if need be, to make it even more realistic. Now looking through your own eyes, hearing the sounds, seeing what you can see as you felt totally motivated now, feeling totally motivated. As you're feeling totally motivated, I want you to reach over with your left hand, with your finger on your left hand, and touch a knuckle on your right hand, the same knuckle. That's it. Just one knuckle. Choose a knuckle and press it as you feel totally motivated. And inside your mind, reaching into that dial and turning that dial up. And as you turn that dial up, you notice the feelings of feeling totally motivated, feeling stronger and stronger. And turn that dial all the way up now, turning it all the way up, all the way to a 10, all the way to its max. Turning it all the way up, feeling those feelings, pressing your finger from your left hand onto your right knuckle, right hand knuckle, one of those knuckles. That's it, feeling totally motivated. And as you feel totally motivated, just feeling totally motivated now. And as those feelings begin to dissipate, just remove your finger. Once those feelings become a little less, remove that finger from your knuckle. Okay. Now, whatever you do, don't think of orange grapes. You smell that? You smell cookies? Okay. All right. So next up, I'm just going to get you to think of a time when you were exercising. When was the last time you were moving your body? Might be recent, might be in the past. Thinking of that time when you were moving your body, when you were exercising, when you were doing something for your health. You weren't punishing yourself. You weren't going in there to destroy yourself. What you were doing was you were doing what you were doing. You were moving your body in a way. You knew you were exercising. Your heartbeat was bumping in your chest and your lungs, breathing in and out, filling up with that great oxygenated air. Just like that. And you were feeling like you were moving in a way that was positive. It was positive towards your health. Could have just been a lovely walk. Could have been anything. Could have been playing sports with your friends. Could have been anything like that. Maybe you were at the gym with friends. Maybe you're on a hike through the green mountains with a cool air, birds chirping. Just noticing that time. The last time you were doing some sort of movement that felt really good. Okay, so noticing that time when you were doing that movement that felt really good, when you were moving your body. And as you notice that, as you listen to the sound of my voice and you think about the last time you're moving your body, I want you to notice as you looking through your own eyes at that time when you were moving your body and you were feeling so good, I want you to notice what you could see. Notice what you were seeing there. Notice what you were seeing. What did you see? What was going on? What could you see through your eyes? What could you hear? What could you hear through your ears? What were you listening to at the time? And what could you feel around you? Did you feel the clothing on your skin? Feel your hands touching anything, your feet touching anything? What could you feel? What was that feeling inside your body? What were you feeling there? What was the temperature around you? Was it cool or just noticing those feelings of feeling good when you're exercising? When you're moving your body and feeling good about it. Noticing those feelings now. Noticing that experience, that event. And as you think of that event, as you notice yourself feeling good and moving your body, as you notice those feelings, looking through your own eyes, seeing what you see, I want you just to turn the brightness up a little bit. Make it more real, make it clearer now. Change the focus. Turn that focus to being crystal clear, nice and clear. As you notice feeling crystal clear, your focus is crystal clear, notice the brightness there. How about the color? How's the color going? Make it more vivid. Make the blues bluer, the greens greener, the reds redder. Make them more real. Make those colors even more rich, really rich now. And as you notice the event, notice what you're hearing. What are you hearing now? Whatever you're hearing, turn the volume up a little bit. Make it real. Make it crisp. Make it really clear. Making those sounds really clear now. As loud as they need to be to feel as real as they need to. Like a melody, almost, perhaps. What are you feeling? What's the temperature like? What are you feeling inside your body? Where is it coming from? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your chest? Is it in your head? Or is it somewhere else? What are you feeling inside your body? What are these feelings? We need to notice those feelings. Make them a little stronger. If they're warm, make them a little warmer. If they're cool, make them cooler. If they're glowing or throbbing, make them a little more glowing. Noticing those feelings now. And noticing that event of feeling really good when you're moving. As you're in that event now, looking through your own eyes, seeing what you're seeing, hearing what you're hearing, feeling how good you're feeling. I want you just to grab that dial and turning that dial all the way up, turning it all the way around so you notice those feelings in your body, wherever they are, stomach or in your chest or in your head. Notice those feelings and make them stronger. Turning that dial all the way up to a 10, and as you turn that dial all the way up to a 10, I want you to take your left hand and a finger from your left hand, same finger as last time, and I want you to press down on that same knuckle on your right hand. So noticing those feelings inside you, pressing down on your knuckle, feeling those feelings really strong now, feeling those feelings, and as they begin to dwindle and begin to recede, just take your finger off your knuckle now, and coming back into the room, thinking of white fluffy towels and all that sort of stuff. All right. Now here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to bring up the first image of feeling totally motivated, first experience. I want you to bring that up as a picture on the left-hand side or anywhere you like on your mind, but as an example, you can bring it up on the left-hand side of your mind. Just bring it up there on the left, so it's sitting there just to the left of the center. And I want you to bring up the next event, feeling really good, moving your body. I want you to bring that up as an image. I want you to place that on the right-hand side. I want you to bring those two up so that they're right next to each other, side by side. There's two images now, seeing them in your mind. And as you see them in your mind, I want you to very quickly merge those two images and have them closer and closer together until they're touching. The edges are touching each other now. Those two images are touching. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold them like a piece of paper so that both of them are facing outwards. So as if both have closed together like a book, and you're closing them like a book so that you can see each image on each side. Okay. Now with those images closed like a book, back to back, you're able to spin those images around. So you're able to flip them from one to the next, just like grabbing a book cover and flipping it over to see the back of the book. You're able to flip them in your mind's eye from feeling really good about moving your body to flipping it over to feeling totally motivated. And I'd just like you to flip them right now as you're noticing them. I want you to flip from feeling really good about your body now, noticing the feelings, to flip it over to feeling totally motivated. Totally motivated. Noticing those feelings of feeling totally motivated. And flipping it back. Feeling really good inside your body. Feeling really good now. Moving your body and feeling really good. Doing so. Now flip it back. Feeling totally motivated. totally motivated. Never felt more motivated in your life. So motivated now, flipping it back. Back over now. Feeling really good in your body. Feeling those feelings of feeling really, really good. As you notice those feelings of feeling really good, just flip it. Feel totally motivated. Notice how motivated you feel now. Now, feeling how motivated you feel, I want you just to give this book as if it's sitting on some type of rotation device. Give it a push so that it starts spinning. So that feeling totally motivated and also feeling really good in your body while you're moving it, moving your body. I want you to notice that it starts rotating and that each image now almost becomes one as it rotates faster and faster, faster and faster, spinning around and around. And as it spins around and around, notice how they almost merge together, moving and feeling totally motivated, moving your body and feeling totally motivated and moving your body are now merging into one. Noticing that move round and round, spinning faster and faster until they both become one. And they both merge together, feeling totally motivated and feeling really good moving your body. Really good moving your body and feeling totally motivated now. And now I want you to stop that rotation, stop, open it back up as if you're opening a book, having both images facing you now. And then allowing them to stay connected as if it was connected through a book spine. And just allowing yourself to notice them and that you have the choice to be able to choose at will whenever you want to decide to feel as motivated as you want to move your body, and moving your body and feeling motivated at the same time are one and the same, and you can make that choice at any time as you wish. Okay, cool. So, it's pretty sunny outside here in Perth today. I think it's about 35 degrees. Bright blue skies. All right, so that was the obvious one NLP technique or process that you can take someone through to help them motivated at any time. And just to, whenever you decide at will, as you listen to me now, you can have the choice to, whenever you decide to want to feel really motivated and to feel really good at the same time about moving your body, exercising, you can just decide to do that at will as you choose. And if you want a little booster, then you can just simply press your finger onto that same knuckle on your right hand, and that will instantly boost you with those same feelings and help you to remember those same feelings of feeling totally motivated and moving your body and feeling really good at the same time. Okay, so that was a conversational use of NLP initially there in the beginning. And then we moved forward, secondly, into a very specific process that we would go through with someone, which is very specific use of NLP. And I hope that you got some real value from that you really enjoyed that process. And NLP can be used in personal training. It can be used very, very well. And that's just one technique that can be used. There are many other techniques, such as helping people to become stronger, more powerful, almost instantaneously, using the power of the mind. There's ways to help people to stay on track with their eating easier. And we didn't quite have time to cover the eating side during this particular webinar, so that will have to come perhaps in another webinar. But I hope you got some real value from today. And what I would recommend is that you download your free copy of my new book called Boost Your Body Image with NLP, which does not just go into body image. It goes into very detailed, specific techniques in NLP that you can use in your personal training business or your personal life now to create the type of results that you desire. So decide to take action. Jump over to nickritchielive.com. Pick up your free copy of my book, Boost Your Body Image with NLP, which covers a range of over 30 different NLP techniques used to boost your life in any area, whether that be fitness, health, exercise, eating, and whatever you would like to improve, not just body image. So jump over there, take action, grab your free copy of my new book. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at nick nickritchielive.com, or you can jump over to my website or connect with me on Facebook. And I hope you enjoy this, and I will catch you soon for another webinar. Bye-bye.